CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success. Welcome back to CMMS Radio, folks. He's on screen right there, Jon Fazenbaker. He is with WCI. That is WearCheck International. And today, I'm repping that stuff. This is not about CMMS Radio. This is about these folks and the fine work they do around the globe. We were hanging out back at Reliable Plant in June. We catch up on CMMS Radio and talk shop. But upcoming, right around the corner, we got SMRP, Society of Maintenance and Reliability Professionals, the annual conference, October 6th through 9th, out in Fort Worth, Texas. And this guy and a couple of his heavy hitter crew are going to be on the scene, carving up the show. Jon, welcome back to CMMS Radio, brother.
Hey, thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be back and talk with you, man.
Yeah. So first thing, I mean, we'll get into SMRP and what's going on there, but what have you guys been up to? What's new as far as your stuff and also what you're seeing in the industry? Anything exciting, anything new, anything that's bugging you?
Well, nothing's really bothering us right now, but I will tell you, with us coming from a background with analytical lab side, we've been really heavy into API integrations here recently. I just attended a show in Clearwater Beach, Florida last week for a group called Tenna, and they do maintenance platforms for the heavy civil construction industry. And it's amazing how that industry and plant and manufacturing are all actually going through the same realm and experiencing the same issues and same growing pains. But it's really neat to see it. And that's, we're looking so forward to SMRP because not only are we going to be there with people like that and partner companies, you're also at SMRP to where it never fails. You get an educational session and a platform where people walk in the door, and except for that good-looking WearCheck hat you're wearing today, usually when people go there, they take those hats off. And people are there because we all have the same problems. All of our clients had the same problems, and they're there to listen and learn and find solutions to those problems as a unified industry.
So the way you put it, as a unified industry, is the thing that a lot of us have alignment on, that we like those aspects of it. And it's not always perfect. I know this event is pretty big, a lot of heavy hitters there, and we see that at other conferences too, but this one's really special. I've talked to a lot of people that go to it, and over the years, lately they've been saying, hey, how come you're never here? And I was like, I never went. I didn't know I should. And so finally I'm going to be there. So that'll be another opportunity for us to hang out. And I think when you talk about the workshops, the learning sessions, and then all the side conversations that are going to happen about what are you dealing with? Yep, we're dealing with that too. And then really trying to figure out, taking that hat off and just talking about solutioning things.
Absolutely.
Is what all these conferences are all about. But this one in particular, now you've got, I can't imagine how many CMRPs are going to be there. I can't imagine how many people that are considering that path, or people that are from the plant floor, people that are even from leadership at these different organizations. There's going to be some really cool stuff going on, especially with some of the sponsors in on what we call Friends of Nano. That means Nano Precise. So I'm going to be hosting. It's presented by CMMS Radio. Friends of Nano. WCI is in on that. A plethora of other companies are in on that. And then we're going to get a bunch of random people rolling through that represent the end user, those plant environments, those enterprises, including what you were talking about. Now, when you were down there in Clearwater, were you doing facility walks and kind of looking at real-time problems?
This one actually wasn't. This was a group that brought in their best of their best client and also their potential clients. And it was doing a thing where they call live, and that's where it's learn, interact, enjoy. So it tied people in, and it let people using the same platform help teach each other what's the best way to do this. It reminds me of as a kid growing up. You waited all year long for Christmas. You waited for that one gift you were always hoping you were going to get. And it's always that biggest box in the corner behind the tree. I see that with CMMS and ERP systems with a lot of technicians, plant managers, reliability personnel, where they think, hey, this is going to revolutionize the way we do things. This is going to be perfect. It's going to be great. Well, you open up that present and oh my gosh, all your prayers have been answered for the year. Well, unfortunately, you open the box up and there's about 500 parts that you have to learn how to assemble. But you can't do that right away because you have to go visit other relatives and go different places. Same way with software. Hey, we've got the software. It's installed. It's here. It's cloud-based. It's accessible throughout our organization. Well, now the real work starts. Before you can play with it, you have to learn how to use it and set it up. And by doing that, it takes a little time to get those practices adopted in. But and then people get using it. They're using it for a few months. Some people use it different ways. And then all of a sudden, something goes wrong. I don't care what you buy. Something is going to go wrong and not work just exactly how you thought it was. So, those are instances where they have to overcome and conquer that. And that's why I like going to like an SMRP, because the leadership and the C-suites and the people who make the decisions on what is the best platforms to buy for their personnel and their technicians, well, a lot of them are going to be at this show too. And as we all know, good leaders do not know everything. But what they do know how to do is find people who are at the best at doing different things and getting them all to work together at the same time and in unison. So this is where it really helps, and it lets these companies see other companies doing the same thing and find a way to formalize and adopt practices to get the best out of the program. I mean, sometimes it's way too powerful of a system for every job function, and people get overwhelmed and lost in the weeds. But seeing other people and listening to how they overcome those obstacles is key.
That's the real advantage of being at these types of conferences, especially this one with the people I've been talking to this week, last week, a couple of weeks ago. That's the kind of stuff that's really going to be happening. And it really helps. Like when anybody asks me, hey, what system should I get, or what should we be looking at? Of course, I want to understand more about who they are, what they're really trying to do, how they operate before I make any kind of recommendation. But oftentimes what we want to do is talk to our counterparts at other organizations that have encountered the exact same problem, maybe even with different softwares. It doesn't have to be the same software, but they might say, hey, I'm struggling with this department adopting the solution. They were doing pretty well, and then it started to change. And then that person says, well, I've had that too. For me, it was about 6 months in, or it was 18 months in. And they can kind of figure out, what did you do about that? There's so many ways this can go. And you and I talking about it is we're not even scratching the surface. What we're saying is, when you're at SMRP, find Jon, find other people that have seen this, that are hearing about this, that are struggling with this, not as a negative thing, but as an opportunity to kind of, help one another. Give these these different ideas are, I mean, and you don't have to be right. Like I tell people all the time, it's not always about what you know. It's actually oftentimes about what you don't know. And that's why the conversations can help you help you essentially isolate that and then figure it out. I think that's what we need more of at every conference. And there's all kinds of different opportunities for that. You don't have to do it at the booth of the vendor that's trying to sell you the software. And when you're talking to those people, ask them, hey, what are some of the problems your clients are having? Where do they get hung up? And do you know why? How did you help them do that? Put them to the test, not because you're trying to jam them up, but see what they really know. I'm always going to come at it from that angle. And then you guys, with what you do, it plays in those various arenas, regardless of what CMMS or EAM or ERP or APM that is being used, because you're focused in on one really, really specific aspect of both maintenance and operations. Because
that's correct.
The maintenance and what you do, not just with your technology, but the best practices when it comes to how things wear out, how lubrication plays a role, on and on like this, is going to inform that solution, but ultimately empower that team. So where would you say, with specifically what you do with WearCheck International, who out there, how would they know they need to be talking to you? What kind of issues are they potentially having where you could tell them right now, hey, if you're dealing with this, or this, we want to just talk to you and just see if we can even help?
Well, I mean, even with that, referencing one of your past segments with Mark Kincaid with weights, we've been meeting with them for several months on integrations as to how they can come in providing a vibration solution. And with the way the world's working, you're looking at thermography, you're looking at vibration, you're looking at eddy current testing, all types of different NDAs for these analysis. But what does each one of those individually do? It doesn't paint the full picture at any given point in time to help that plant or to help that facility really make use of the data. So it's such a coordination now between vendors from multiple facets, whether it be software, whether it be oil analysis, whether it be on-site maintenance or contract laboring programs. We're able to get these things tied in and let them feed all of our individual data points back into one system that they've made an investment into. That way they're being trained on how to use one platform and not feel like they're being drug in 100 different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are. It's close to the end of baseball season, right? Playoffs are coming out. So you got to talk a little bit of baseball. But everybody has the best bat. They have the best gloves, the best cleats, all the best equipment when you look across Major League Baseball. But when they stand up there to bat, not one of them stands the exact same way in their stance when they go to hit that ball. So that's how you have to try to coordinate with your maintenance teams to facilitate them using the platform and using the software in the manner of which it was intended for and purchased for.
Almost like when we talk about equipment assets in and of themselves, it's critical to understand the design intention, the appropriate use, including the inappropriate use, so
Correct.
you can keep going. So it's a great analogy when you talk about baseball and the stance from the hitting position as well as many other positions. Incidentally, I just had a buddy of mine hit me up about that hitter that got beamed yesterday on accident. So that was kind of scary. And the reason I'm bringing that up, hope he's okay, is that's kind of how unexpected these failures can
happen.
Yeah. Just out of the blue. And I think what I'm trying to say is at a conference like this, you can talk about the ideas of prediction, prevention, but it's really more about being in a state of preparedness.
Because there will be catastrophic events. I don't care how diligent you are. I mean, that player probably has seen 20,000 pitches in his lifetime to be at the level of where he's at. It took that one.
Yeah.
And nobody saw it coming. You cannot catch prematurely every failure out there. Things do happen. But as you said, using your tools, having the correct inventory, trusting that the inventory process and that the parts are on site, to not be scattered around and running all over and stuffing parts away in corners just because you're afraid that somebody doesn't have it for you when you need it. It really is an all buy-in type of experience.
That's hilarious that you brought up I shouldn't say hilarious. It's not hilarious. It's ironic that you brought up how parts get kind of stuffed away and pigeonholed. A dear friend of mine, Andy Gager with AMG International, and I were talking about how often he sees this around the globe, and that gets specifically into MRO best practices and how you can really structure that so you can stop doing that kind of stuff. Because those guys and gals that are kind of hiding things, they're the ones that really know what's going on, and they've seen all those difficulties with supply chain disruption or how much additional downtime we're going to have when that catastrophic failure happens. So they're going to put that critical spare or this part over here because they're like, man, it hurt real bad. I got to keep this because nobody else is going to have the insights that I do. That's where we get back to the human thing. So, man, I don't want to I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I first want to tell everybody to keep an eye out for Jon and the WearCheck team when they're at SMRP, not in a booth, but they will be in my booth on occasion doing some recording, talking about stuff they're learning, cool stuff. So I'm going to invite you and the team to periodically come over and let me know if you got something to chirp about so we can get that recorded.
I don't think you ever had a hard time seeing me having something to chirp about.
Oh, yeah. No, because we're all in it for, passion for the industry, making the industry better, learning new things, reminding people about things that we've learned, and we want to just keep them front and center. I think that's really what we're trying to do here with this. That's what we're trying to do at the conference at SMRP. And we want to be net contributors where we share insights and things that we learn. And have fun along the way too. We don't want to be too overly serious, even though this is serious business. So, do you have anything on your radar aside from being on the Friends of Nano production at CMMS Radio's booth that you're going to do at conference?
Well, I mean, the big thing for us is, whereas a lot of the other shows, we're in a booth and you're kind of tied to your booth and manning for when people come by. We wanted to use this opportunity to be a little more mobile at the conference because of being at RP and different shows throughout the course of the year. This is going to kind of give us a collective place to where we can do the follow-ups in person with those people that we've seen throughout the course of the year. It's also allowing us, as an organization, to help train some of our newer personnel. We're constantly growing, and this is a prime experience where I want newer reps and technical people to be sitting in on all these sessions and hear the pinch points of what's going on within the industry and really soak that in and absorb it.
Yeah. So on that specifically, whether it's you or those individuals, when they go and they learn something, we're going to want to find some random times. We can schedule it, not right here, right now, but we'll get it figured out when we're there to have them come and report back. What did they learn? Why is it meaningful? What are they still trying to figure out? That's what's going to be awesome about this conference. And it's good that you won't be tied to a booth, so you can really move around, learn what's really going on. That allows you to put more of a finger on the pulse of the industry. So with that, Jon Fazenbaker, WearCheck International.
Thanks you, buddy,
for being here on CMMS Radio, and I will see you in Fort Worth, Texas at SMRP 2025. Take care, brother.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Always a pleasure.
You got it, man. Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.